Nixon's day, they wanted, they just needed some propaganda to make America, sound better than the Russians, and the Russians had already beaten them to space, yada yada. So basically, they were like, screw it, we don't care what we got to do. We're going to put some people in space. And if that means we don't even put people in space, we lie, then that's what we got to do. And so here they are, they got this mission going, and my understanding is these guys are drunks too. And who knows, they were all on speed and shit like that, so they were having their share of paranoid delusions. And it wasn't too long, right before the mission started, that supposedly they hatched this plan. They're like, well, what if everybody dies? Well, they're like, well, we can't allow that. So, so literally because they were so paranoid that they thought something was going to go wrong or whatever reason, they hatched a terrible plan. They're like, well, no matter what happens, we're going to make our own version of what we think the moon should be like, and we're going to give that to the people anyway, whether whatever they may find or not. And of course, the supposed moon mission, did its thing, and they came back. And personally, I believe the reason why no astronaut can remember what they saw on the moon is because they were all brainwashed when they got back.
They were programmed to think it was like what they said it would be like.
They had to come back and lie to everybody. And I think only Armstrong did it fail on. So all these astronauts came back, and they're like, for some reason, none of them could remember what the moon was actually like. So they just told the story that they were supposed to tell. And that's what they stuck with. But basically, it came out. So basically, since they needed a director of quality, they approached Kubrick, and Kubrick was like, sure, I'll do it for you guys. And so they flew him over to England, and they had the CIA. They came out with some crappy actors. And they gave him, so he basically shot all this footage over in some BBC studio, and and he also took a special one to prove that it was fake.
That shows an acceptance of what's reality and what's fake.
Oh, there's no question. There is no question. We've accepted a lot of fake things as reality, more often than not. So the mission goes all right. Nobody dies. They come back. But still, the only thing that's released is this fake version of the whole deal. So Kubrick does his part. He keeps his mouth shut. And years later, he wants to shoot this movie, and because it's all in candlelight, because it's made in the Renaissance era or something like that. It's all in candlelight. In order to get the actual candlelight effect, he basically blackmails NASA. He's like, listen, I know what you guys got. You have this special something or other lens, and I forgot what the exact name was. He's like, if you don't give me that lens, I'm going to knock you guys out. And that's how he rolled with those fuckers. And they're like, okay, we'll give you the lens. So he shot this movie, and it was all candlelight, and people were like, oh, amazing movie, Stanley, amazing movie. But because of that, they decided to ask for Kubrick's help again, and at this point he refuses. Yeah. And then this is where the whole Eyes Wide Shut thing comes in, where Kubrick is literally, showing what really goes on in the world, what's going on behind the scenes. This weird occult black magic, sex rituals, all this shit. All these super rich people, what they're doing behind the scenes is they're having these incredible black magic sex orgies all the time. And that's what, Eyes Wide Shut was about. Now, the official story is Kubrick dies from suicide.
Oh, interesting.
Before Eyes Wide Shut is, of course, finished. And then, then I believe the CIA goes in and re-edits it to fit their more of how they want it portrayed. And that's what you and I got to see. But,
that's true.
I find it very, especially a man like Kubrick, if he was going to commit suicide, he would wait for his movie to flop. You just don't. He didn't commit suicide. He got suicided.
That's interesting.
Like so many others have.